by Complete Quarterback. I'm your host, John Serenitas, and tonight I have the good fortune to be joined by my guy, Hardy Watts, offensive and defensive lineman at Dexter Southfield. Hardy, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you as well.
And listen, you've been a busy man, my friend. You're every time I'm on Twitter, I feel like you're getting another offer. It's great to see. We talked last year at the Elite Football Camp, and you had just started the process then. And I want to kind of rewind from there. Let's start with how you got into football and how you ended up at Dexter Southfield.
So, attending Dexter has always kind of been a no-brainer for my family. My father went there. My mom's worked there. This will be her 20th year. Not consecutively, but 20th year. And so my uncle went there as well, so it's kind of been a family thing. And it was no question as to whether or not I would attend Dexter. So I've been there now since first grade. It's my 12th year. I reclassed at Dexter in my sophomore year. And yeah, that's a little bit about how I got to Dexter. And what was the other question?
When did you start playing football? And obviously you answered the Dexter part, but when did you start playing football? And when did you know that, hey, I love this, I can do this, this is my kind of sport?
So I started playing flag football when I was very young. I started playing flag football since kindergarten. I've been playing flag football since kindergarten. And but I started playing tackle football my sixth grade year. Um, Hold on, I apologize. I'm getting a phone
No,
call.
that's all right. You're a busy man. I mean,
All right,
it happens.
let me turn on Do Not Disturb again. I'm sorry.
Not a problem, brother.
So, all right, there we go. Sorry. Um, but yeah, so I started playing tackle football in sixth grade and didn't really see the field at all. Never really played. I was a filler at a bunch of different positions. If some guy went down, I'd go in wherever, a line, linebacker, whatever. Then it wasn't until my freshman year spring when we all had gone back to schools and I played in this spring football league. Um, and then it was the last game for that league where I remember I had left that league feeling super kind of defeated, I guess is the right word. I was really small, about 6'2", 140 pounds, 150, depending on what I ate that day. But yeah, so I left feeling super defeated because I had been going against a lot of the top talent in New England,
Right.
and I was not having any success. And it was extremely hard for me as a very competitive athlete who's been a multi-sport athlete since they could walk, for me to not find, I wasn't looking for instant success, but I didn't win a rep. And so it was hard for me to take that, I guess. And so I remember feeling like walking off the field and wondering, was football really for me? And so I, thought it over, spent a lot of time thinking about it that day and the days following. But then a few days later, I received an email from our head coach, Casey Day, our offensive line coach, Dan Nicola. And they basically just said, you showed us a lot with your grit and your mentality and, how you are as a person and a player. And we think that if you stick with it, you could have a very successful football career. And that was a turning point for me in my development. Like I said, I've been an athlete my entire life, but I had never had a coach kind of one-on-one connect with me like that. And so I knew then and there that I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to chase those goals and chase those expectations that they have for me. Because it went from I don't really think this is for me to kind of, why would you ever think like that? Like, let's get to work type of thing. And so from that point on, I started to think of myself as a football player. And I spent every day in the weight room and started counting my calories and watching what I eat and making sure I was eating a lot. And so then, now here we are. I went from 6'2", about 140, 150 to now 6'5" and a half, 305 pounds. So it's been quite the journey since I started playing. But
It's an epic growth spurt, brother.
yeah, it's some might call it crazy, but I think, you know, not to toot my own horn, but in a way I am built for it because I've maintained a lean and mean frame. I have a percentage, and so I've been able to put on a lot of weight successfully, and I think that has also contributed immensely to my success as a recruit and as a football player.
No, I mean you've changed physically from when I saw you last June.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, it's crazy, man, because you were still in this process last June. I remember when we chatted, and like, you came up to me and you're like, I forget how we connected. You were actually in the middle of doing one-on-ones, I think. And I'm
yeah.
just standing there getting video and I'm talking about you, tweeting it out, and then you come over to me and I'm assuming you recognize me when I'm like, "What's up, Hardy?" And you're like, "Hey, man, whatever." We started talking, but what were you then like about? Am I
I was
am I
about
off by saying you were
260.
about 290, 285, 290,
I was a little lower.
like 275 maybe?
I was about 270, 265. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you really have put in the work, brother. I mean, it's showing because I mean, like I said, it's the difference is much noticeable. You mentioned Coach Day, Coach Dina Cole. How important have they been to your success and your development in terms of where you are at this point?
Well, just to kind of go back for a second, I wouldn't still be playing football if it weren't for them. And so, because of them, I'm, on this call with you today. But Coach DiNicola, I mean, he has developed more offensive linemen into college prospects than any coach I could say in the Northeast. With Sully Weedman, Natino Olivieri, now then with Liam Andrews, now with me, and then we have two, or actually three young guys that are ready to take the next step this year. One that's already receiving recognition for that, and the one that will, and the one that's very young. So his development, his ability to coach me and connect with me as well as the other guys on the team, um, is a driving factor in a lot of our developments. And without him, and I don't think I'd be where I am today. So I owe all of my success. Although I did have to put in the work, a lot of, if not all of my success is due to my coaches believing in me and giving me an opportunity and never letting me quit.
Yeah. No, and that's huge, man. Like you said, you can put in all the work, but you also need that support at home with your family. But in many ways, and it's almost more important, you need that support from your coaching staff. They need to
Most
believe in you.
definitely.
Yeah, they need to support you. And those guys saying to you after you finish that season in the league that, hey, just keep doing your thing, keep grinding. You're going to be a player. We could see it. I mean, man, that's a jolt of energy. That's what you need. That's the confidence boost you need to put in the work. Because look, working out is hard. Putting in the work is hard. But if you know that people believe in me and that there's going to be a reward at the end of this, it makes it easier to put in the work.
Absolutely. And the saying is very true. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It takes a certain person to be able to do what kids in my situation do.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's been nothing but enjoyable, and I've been really pleased with the progress that I've made and the man I've become due to Coach Day, Coach Dino, and football.
Yeah. No, and the game obviously it has a huge impact on people, and you're living proof of it. You see it. You are watching the recruiting visit presented by Complete Quarterback. I'm your host, John Sirenitas. This week, we have Hardy Watts, offensive defensive lineman from Dexter Southfield, joining us. And Hardy, let's get into the recruiting process. You've been a busy man for the last few months, man. Just talk about, give us a quick update as to how that's been going, and what do you got coming up here in the spring and going into the summer camp wise?
So I've taken visits so far to Boston College, UVA, Duke, UNC, Clemson, and Michigan. I was supposed to go to Alabama and Vanderbilt this weekend, but I was unable to make that work with flights. And so I flipped when I was going to go to Syracuse. I was going to go to Syracuse next weekend, and I now changed that to this weekend. So I'll be going to Syracuse this Saturday. And then I'm hopeful that because I switched my Syracuse visit that I'll be able to attend the BC spring game. And then later in the month, I have a visit to Rutgers and a visit to Wisconsin, and then I have my rescheduled Alabama and Vanderbilt trip. And then after I take all my unofficials, I will schedule my official visits, and then I don't think I'm going to attend any camps this summer. So I aim to be committed halfway through the summer, kind of midsummer, towards the end of the summer. But again, not again, but just I don't want to rush my process at all. So if I, don't commit over the summer, it's not the end of the world, and I'll commit after the season. But that's just kind of a little bit into my timeline.
Yeah, and obviously, getting back to the camps, you've kind of been there, done that. You've done that. You've established yourself as a prospect now. Now it's more about when you decide you want to commit and what you put on film your senior season. It's camps at this point aren't really going to be a deciding factor. Certainly, you don't need to get in front of those programs. They know what you are.
Yes.
Yeah. So as far as making that decision, what goes into a decision like that for you and your thought process? Is it something where mom and dad are going to obviously play a part in it? Your coaches, are they going to help you make the decision, or is it ultimately, are they leaving it up to you? Is it ultimately your decision?
So it is ultimately my decision, and I am a student athlete, so I want to go to the place that will best develop me as a student, as an athlete, and as a person. But I also want, a few factors that'll play into my decision are I want to go into business, study business, so degree in business, as well as the culture of a team, the coaching, how I'll be able to connect with the coaches, because like I said, the coaches at Dexter Southfield have been such an important part of my development and, me being here as a person and where I am today. So I need to, and I would love to carry that over into the next 3 to 4 or 5 years. So coaching, culture, and then the players in the room themselves, the guys that I'll be with for the next few years. So those are a few factors. And then I guess you could say, the cherry on top is the facilities. But yeah.
And how, and I ask this all the time now. I didn't used to ask it, Hardy, but with the portal the way it is now and NIL and all this other stuff, as you know, college football has kind of become the Wild West now. Is it even more important to pick the right place now? Because, yeah, it's nice to have the portal and have the ability to go somewhere else if you end up going to a school that doesn't work out for you. Obviously, the NIL is a nice thing, but how important is it for you? You said you're going to take your time with this process, and I think that's smart. How important is it for you to make the right decision here? Because I would imagine for you, you want a place that you can be at for the next 4 years and get your degree and set yourself up to play professionally if you choose to.
So obviously college football is in a crazy time, and I happen to be right on the forefront of it. I haven't taken the full dive into it yet, but I think that in their own fields, NIL and the transfer portal are amazing. But at the same time, I do think that it adds another layer of to college football that, in certain situations is bad for college football, but in certain situations is great for college football. And I think that it is so much more important even now to choose the right place. And, questions that I ask now at schools is, how many transfers do you take? Would you be opposed to, just taking in a transfer, etc.? Because I want to play and make a difference early at wherever I play. But if that school is just going to keep taking in transfers and older guys, then how am I supposed to beat out a guy that's proven himself in college?
And I think that shows, not to cut you off, I think that shows, first of all, I think it shows a lot of maturity on your part to ask questions like that because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I think that puts college coaches on the spot a little bit. And you know what? They need to be put on the spot because it's your future. And I think that not enough kids ask those questions, Hardy. So the fact that you're doing that in this process, I think A says a lot about you, but also it says a lot about the fact that you care about this decision you're going to make. You don't want to look back on it and regret it because they told you one thing and then something else happened. I think what it says is you're putting this out in front now and saying, hey, I want to talk about this now, not after I commit and I get here and you start doing this.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, it's important to ask those questions, but like that'll play a role in my recruitment as well. There's some schools that will take 6, 7, 8 transfers. There's some that will only take one if they absolutely need it because they had an injury. So there's a wide range. You can get the full scale, but that's another factor that'll play into my recruitment. But to answer your point, I think it's more important than ever to kind of really connect with the coach. And one of the bad things about the transfer portal is, there's kids that abuse it. And, a big part of college football is being developed. And certain kids will go and, drink the Kool-Aid, so to say, of, oh, you can come here and play, and then they don't, and then they just hop in the portal, and then they end up screwing themselves because they never had a chance to prove themselves in college, and with no college film, they're sitting in the transfer portal. So it's important to not only ask those questions, but understand where you fall on that depth chart in terms of, the amount of freshmen offensive linemen that start small. There's people that do it, but you have to understand that you have to be willing to, although no one wants to do it, you have to be willing to sit a year and be developed, because development is such a huge part of what can get you to playing on Sundays.
Yeah, and I think you just hit 1,000-foot home run there. Development is a huge part of this, especially for linemen. Not that it doesn't matter at other positions, but it's everything up front. Like you talk about Coach DiNicola setting you guys up for success, it's because he developed you the right way. And Coach Day has developed you guys the right way and has put you in a position. Your story is a prime example of development. And now you decide, all right, I'm going to go to this school. You want to know that they're going to invest in you. They're not just investing in you with a scholarship, but that they're going to invest in your development. Because if you're them, you'd rather have a guy that you recruited organically as a high school player that could step in and you develop him and you play him. And again, I think the problem with the portal is, and you hit the nail on the head with the older guys, unfortunately, fair or not fair for college coaches, it's the perceived quick fix, right? Like, oh man, we didn't have a good year. We need to fortify the roster. Let's just attack the portal and bring 20 guys in. Well, you don't want that to be at the expense of your development. So I think asking the development question is really important, because if nothing else, fine, you bring in, let's say, 3 or 4 linemen in the portal. You still want to have a chance to compete to start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I kind of think that gets lost on people. And sometimes it's easy to fall in love with the school because it's a Power 4 school and you're going to get to play on TV and all this other stuff. But as you said earlier, the business piece, you want to get into business, the degree matters to you. So certainly picking the right school is important. This must be a whirlwind for you. I mean, you're in a position that a lot of young men would envy. How do you handle this process, dealing with constant communication with coaches and offers and whatnot? Can it be too much at times? Can it be stressful?
It absolutely can be too much at times. And, although I am, like you said, an example of development, I've been the little guy. I've been the tackling dummy. I've been that guy. And I once, prayed and, always dreamed of having the opportunities and blessings that I have. And so I will never complain about, coaches wanting to talk to me and, all the phone calls and texts and emails and whatever I have to do, because I once wasn't in the position and wanted to be in this position. And I think it's important, some people might think, oh, it's annoying to have to pick up your phone every other, I was getting a call here on the Zoom. But like I said, I've been the little guy. I've been the guy that's wanted to be where I am. And now that I am where I am, I would never complain because of it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it can be a lot, I'm sure, but to your point, you're also thankful for being in this position. It's a great position to be in because in many ways you control your future. You dictate where you're going to go and what path you're going to take to achieve the goals that you have for yourself. When you're off the field and away from the game, if you're not lifting, you're not practicing, you're not playing, what are some things you like to do to get away from football?
So I spend a lot of time with my friends. I'm a big, um, as I've mentioned a couple times, I'm a big relationships person, and I find happiness in spending time with other people and getting to meet new people, and that's something that I take a lot of pride in. And so, oftentimes, you can find me with my friends, my girlfriend, her family, my own family. So I don't stay in one place for too long. I'm always moving around. I'm kind of the go with the flow guy. If you want to sit and read a book, I'll sit and read a book. If you want to go skydiving, I'll go skydiving. So whatever you want to take.
That's really going with the flow, though.
Yeah. So I just love to do everything. I find joy in everything. So just spending time with people that are good people and passionate about certain things, that's what I love to do.
But you don't always go with the flow, right? Like if somebody said to you, "Hey, Hardy, I was thinking about robbing a bank. You want to rob
Oh,
a
well,
bank with me?" You're not going to go with the flow there, are you?
no. Well, I mean, I have a
I didn't think so.
no. So yeah, but just stuff with friends, something like
Yeah,
going out for a walk, or
yeah,
sometimes going to a Red Sox game or stuff like that. I'm always down for whatever, but
yeah, and
within
and
reason, like you said.
right,
Within
yeah,
reason.
exactly. And I think that that's just it. I mean, you could tell that's the vibe you give off. You know what I mean? That you're pretty even keeled. You're about 17, 18, going on 40, 42 in terms of your maturity. So I think it says a lot about you there, my friend.
The
Game day
testament to my
routine.
mom.
What's that?
The testament to my mom and
Yeah,
how she raised me.
yeah, yeah. And that's just it, right? Like you are a byproduct of your upbringing in many ways in this world, and you're a reflection of it, brother. Game day routine. Are you a superstition guy? Do you have to set your uniform out the night before? And do you dream big? What is your game day routine like?
So my game day routine is I actually am superstitious. So little things like how I set my phone the night before, depending on the game time, what time I wake up, or the shoes I wear. I wear my slippers. I have this comfy pair of slippers that I wear every game. And actually, believe it or not, the game that I blew my knee out in, I didn't wear the slippers.
Oh,
So um, definitely wearing the slippers from now on every game. In addition, I have a certain way I wrap my hands and a certain way I get dressed. But yeah, so I wake up, eat. I eat 2 hours before the game so that I'm not hungry for the game, but I also have a time to digest. And then pregame music. Um,
hold on. See, you're a veteran now. You've seen this before, so you know what I'm going to ask you. Let's go back to the eat now. We're two big guys here. I need to know, what does Hardy Watts eat before a game?
Really anything that's in the fridge.
That's awesome.
Sometimes it could be cereal, sometimes it could be a Jersey Mike sub, sometimes it's just something that'll tide me over. When I eat the cereal, I'll eat the whole box. So, um, or like I don't know, like some tuna or something. But yeah, just kind of whatever's in the fridge, whatever's easy at the time. I don't want to spend 45 minutes cooking, but at the same time, I want it to be enough to fill me up. So maybe some ramen, with a protein shake and some electrolytes.
And the music piece, as you know, is a big part of the show. I'm a big music guy, so I'm always looking for the younger generations to teach this 49-year-old man uh, what they listen to. So, what are you listening to before a game? Now, are you guys a speaker program where you've got like a team DJ and you got the speaker in the locker room and everybody's doing their thing pregame, or are you all listening to your own individual music?
So we're both. And I don't quite frankly know how it works, but it's kind of one of those things, with noise canceling headphones now. So, but yeah, we are a speaker team. There's a speaker in between the bathroom and the showers and the kind of changing part of the locker room that stays there. And that's someone connects to that. Whoever's usually first in the locker room connects to it, and there'll be music going on that the entire time. It'll always be rap music. Pardon me. And then kids, including me, will put in their headphones and listen to certain songs, right before we go out. But whoever's on aux, kind of knows the deal and knows what songs to play, knows the vibe, and everyone gets dancing before, so it's fun. We have a fun time.
Now, what is on your pregame playlist? Are you a rap guy, rap and hard rock, country? I mean, where do you fall genre wise?
So it depends. I have one of three. It's either a rap, or like old rap, like
From Dre, Snoop, Nate
still
Dogg,
Dre,
Eminem.
stuff like that. Snoop, or some Biggie, or like AC/DC, Black Sabbath.
Nice.
You're
You're crossing generations here.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love all music types. I have probably 30 playlists in my phone of different genres or different moods. But yeah, it's just so any of those three genres before pregame. So yeah, and each of those playlists is like 30 hours long, so I have enough music to last me a while.
Well, final question here for you, brother, and you've done a tremendous job tonight, as always, Hardy. It's great to see you, man, and I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
When you make that decision to commit, what kind of a person and player is that program getting?
So I, right off the bat, would say they're getting someone that knows the true value of hard work and where it can get you, and that is very competitive and wants to be the best and will do whatever it takes to get them there. And someone who, like I said, I've had to work countless hours, so much time, energy, blood, sweat, tears have been put into this so far. And I'm not discounting at all what other kids are doing, but I feel like in my case, coming from a very small frame to now a very big frame, it's taken a lot to get there. And I know what it takes to have to do to get to that point. So I'd say someone that will work from 3 a.m. to 2 a.m. with an hour of sleep in between, that knows the value of true work, and that's someone that wants to be the best at what they do and loves to talk about football and loves the game itself and will do anything for it.
Well, I know this much, having been around you for a very limited amount of time, but covering the program since you've been a part of it. Wherever you end up, they're going to get the real deal, man. They're going to get the real deal of a person, and they're going to get the real deal of a player. Hardy, I want to say thank you for taking the time, brother. It's great to see you, and looking forward to keeping up the rest of this off season. And I can't wait till you make your decision, and I can't wait till we chat about it and I write about it, because we're excited to see what the future holds for you, man.
Thank you. This has been amazing.
Yeah, thanks, brother. You've been amazing, and appreciate the time as always, and looking forward to catching up here soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Anytime, man. That is Hardy Watts, offensive defensive lineman from Dexter Southfield. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Recruiting Visit. I'm John Sirenitas for Hardy Watts. Until next time, peace.